Hold on, I need something on my lips, okay? You just crossed me because you came here asking questions and the police showed up 5 seconds later. 5 stars, okay? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Isha if you're new here, and if you are new here, I hope you stick around, subscribe for more videos from me. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media so we can be locked in. And let's talk about all the books that I read in May, because I did not film one for May. Your girl was just not reading, so we're just gonna add the two together. I'm gonna pull up my Goodreads. My Goodreads is always linked down below if you want to follow me, and just like we can stay updated on what we're both reading. Books behind our reading go, but that's neither here or there. We're still gonna be reading Emily Henry. Funny story, I rated 4.5 stars. It's Daphne and Miles, and Daphne and Miles both got left, broken up with by their respective partners. I don't really respect them at all. So Miles' ex-girlfriend ended up in a relationship engaged to Daphne's fiance. So Niles and Daphne end up moving in together. They build a friendship and a connection through breakups at the same time. So they're bonding, they're having late night beach trip, they're spending a bunch of time together. She works at the library, she's a librarian, an all around good guy. He's never met a stranger. Like, he'll talk to anybody, he'll help anybody out. And she's kind of like closed off. People always like does her dirty or leaves her, so she kind of has like a protective wall up, and somehow Miles just climbed over that wall. Emily Henry, I love all of her books. Of course, I rated 4.5 stars. I might be biased because Emily Henry wrote it, but what can I say? So the next book, a little novella, I listened to this one, The One Night by Megan Quinn, kind of a prequel to her other book, The Reunion. I love that one because I also want to listen to that. I need their story because it ends up with two people basically spend the night together. They have an interaction, they end up hooking up at the end of the night. It's a really short book. So Cooper is divorced. He moved closer to his parents, and Nora is his ex-wife's best friend. They end up spending time together and they end up hooking up. Basically, his parents took him out on the town to get him someone to hook up with because they got tired of him being sad and lonely. Okay, they ended. I kind of was like, I have to listen to more of this because I need to know what happened. So the next one was Book Boyfriend. So this one is following romance reader, romance stan, romance blogger, and also a historical romance writer. I rated this one 3.75. So it's following Mia and Alex. So Alex and Mia end up bumping into each other at a bookstore. He ends up buying all the books in her hand. She discovers that his pen pal, Mia, the girl that he's going on dates with, the girl that he's talking about, the girl that he wants to grow a deeper connection with, is his pen pal. You already know where the miscommunication is gonna happen, okay? You already know where the third act breakup is gonna happen. It's a good book. It was just what I wanted. This sounds mean, but sometimes I just want like a mild read, not something that's gonna like have my heart hurting and like in a slump afterwards. I knew that this book was that, so I did enjoy it. Okay, it's check and mate, 5 stars. Okay, Allie Hazelwood never misses, and when I say that, I truly mean that from the depths of my soul, because of the way that I ate up this book. This is, first of all, a YA. It's following Mallory and Nolan. Okay, so Mallory, she used to play chess all the time. Like, she used to play it competitively, but she used to play it with her dad. Dad ended up leaving family, right? So she never played chess after her dad left, and she was in love with chess. Like, chess was like breathing air for her. Her mom has a chronic illness, so it's hard for her to work. So Mallory basically took on the role as the caregiver, working at a car garage, making the ends meet to make sure that her younger sisters had everything she needed, that her mom had everything she needed. Like, she was the main caregiver. I felt bad for her because like at 18 years old, she was the one running stuff. So her friend convinces her to this chess convention, ends up playing Nolan Sawyer, #1 chess champion in the world. She plays him, beats him. Nolan becomes enraptured. Okay, he needs to find this girl. He needs to play this girl again. Getting this apprenticeship, working at the apprenticeship, she ends up in playing chess all around the world, and Nolan just keeps popping up to have a pull towards each other. It was just one of the cutest YA books ever. This book also has a part where he's sick and she takes care of him. It's just, the book is just amazing all around. You know, I loved it. The next one is Can't Help Falling. This is the second book, the Forever Yours series. So after I read Ready or Not, I dove into her books. Like, this woman, her books are so good. This one is following Seraphine and Sebastian. It's kind of like an enemies to lovers. So Seraphine, she's like really beautiful. She just has this beautiful aura. Also kind of like a psychic. Sebastian's always been attracted to her. We know each other through their best friends. So that's how like they're always together and always like hanging around each other. Asks her out, she declines, reads him the riot act basically, and like the way she turned him down, she could have been a lot less harsher, but I can't even blame her because like, men, Seraphine has always wanted to help kids in the foster system as well, so she always wanted to be a foster parent. Sebastian's younger sister, her mom abandoned her, so Sebastian ends up in custody of his sister. Moving her into Brooklyn. This book is based in New York. He's trying to adjust to like being a sole caregiver. Never wanted kids, right? He's adjusting to like being the sole provider for somebody. Seraphine always wanted kids, and she like feels a connection towards her. She ends up spending a lot of time with his sister, and then within that they end up spending a lot of time together, and then they can't find the attraction anymore. So it's a really cute book. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was kind of long, but I still enjoyed it. So I rated that one, I think, 4 stars. Okay, so the next one was a short and sweet book. Most Violet Player, and I rated it 4 stars. This one's following Cooper and Violet. So Cooper has known Violet her whole entire life. They've known each other their whole entire life. Cooper is best friends with Violet's brother, so he's never went there with her. He ends up getting auctioned, and to save him from the vultures, as he would say, she ends up bidding for him. They basically end up in a fake relationship, because when she bids for him, pulls her onto the stage, they kiss, and then like it just starts this whole thing. So they're both benefiting from it, but they both have been like finding this attraction. Well, she's been like in love with him, and he's just now figuring out that he's in love with her too. Okay, From the Embers. I know I'm kind of late on this little train, because this book like raging on TikTok, but I just now recently read it. Enjoyed my time. I think I rated this one 4 stars. 4.5. Sweet Spot is following Lincoln and Kira. He ends up meeting her through the boys golf team, and he sees her swing, and he goes up to her, approaches her, and tries to give her advice. She basically chews him out. It was like, I don't need a man telling me blah blah blah. I was like, later she figures out that he's like a really good golf trainer, and she decides to sign up for his training program or whatever. She basically convinces him. He was initially attracted to her from like the jump, and it just, the more and more they're working together, he just like saw pure talent in that girl, and he like knew that she could like do her thing. It could be better. I love that. I love to see that. So the next one is See Me After Class. This is the first book in the teacher romance. So this was following Aloe and Greer. These are some unique names. I've never heard these names before in my life. She recently just graduated, and she gets a teaching job at this really like prestigious, nice school in the English department. And Arlo, is the head of the English department. He originally did not want her hired. This is like an enemies to lovers. After she gets hired and she starts making friends with the other teachers like in the school, they end up pranking him. So like this has like a prank war involved in it too. The girls in the group also start a book club, so it's super cute. Book has one of my favorite micro tropes. It's where he knows that he needs to become better for himself, but also the realization happens because of her. So I need to be a better person so that I am worthy of her. So he starts to go to therapy. That's one of my favorite micro tropes. Both have fun groups within the school, and they're always like hanging out with each other, and I like seeing that aspect because I love her books. Okay, I do. The Eden series I absolutely love. I need to finish it. So it's following Bryce and Kingston, aka Dash. He was in the motorcycle club. Okay, she moves into the small town because her parents recently moved there and bought into the newspaper and became like the head journalist. So she is trying to figure out why the motorcycle gang disassembled. She was trying to do that. Ended up finding out about a murder that happened in the town, like right when it happened. Being the reporter that she is, the journalist that she is, she pulls up at Kingston motorcycle garage. All signs are pointing to Dash's dad. She's working to basically find out the truth, but she also wrote in the paper that it was all signs were pointing to Dash's dad. She's trying to uncover the truth and clear his dad's name, because for the moment that they saw each other, it's an attraction. That it was like, you just crossed me because you came here asking questions, and the police showed up 5 seconds later. It was the enemies to lovers. She's fiery, and I love a fiery heroine. Like, you know, it's just something about it. I rated that one 4 stars. I enjoyed it. About the second one, I will be reading that one. So the next one is Iron Will. As I always do, once I read one book with the same type of like subplot, like Motorcycle Club, Paranormal, I always end up reading more. It's following Lainey and Roy. I don't think I can pronounce his name. They meet at a hospital because this little girl ended up getting hospitalized because she fell down the steps, but her mother also had like a very like toxic boyfriend, basically like a loser. She was not really safe in his care to begin with. His last name's Powers. I'm just gonna call him Powers. Ends up at the hospital because one of his MC members is in the hospital dealing with a gunshot wound. He's in recovery, right? So he ends up overhearing the little girl's mother's boyfriend throwing a fit about leaving, and he gets involved, throws him out the hospital, and then he becomes really like attached to this little girl and making sure she's okay, and that like when she leaves the hospital she's gonna be okay. Lainey's a social worker at the hospital. If they end up trying to like, they have a mutual agreement to try to like make sure that like boyfriend is no longer in the picture, and that the little girl when she goes home she'll be safe. That's that. I rated 3 stars. It was okay. Okay, Upon a Broken Heart. Let me set the scene. This is a fantasy romance. Okay, so this one's following, I can't say her whole name. I think I'm just gonna call her Eve for short. So it's following her and the Prince of Hearts, Jack, right? She ends up going to Jack's to stop her sister's wedding. Her sister stole her man. Her stepsister and her had never really been close, and also her stepmother, you know, it was giving me Cinderella vibes at the beginning. She goes to Jack's at the beginning of the book. She has no hope that the wedding will be stopped, so she's ready to risk it all. Goes to Jack's because she doesn't want to lose anyone else that she loves. She goes to him, and then he basically says he'll stop their wedding, but she owes him 3 kisses, right? He ends up stopping the wedding by turning everyone into stone. He has really pretty pink rose gold hair. Keep this in mind. You need to read the book because I still don't know what's going on because I need to read the second book. So she ends up, after she's free, she ends up going to a new city to try to find the love. Her and her sister, they go to the other side, to the north, I believe. I think it's up north. She ends up working with Jack. Her and Jack always have this pull to each other because she owes him, and that's why they always have that pull towards each other. So Jax is also there. Jax tells her to kiss the prince. So basically she ends up with the prince, right? Or so you thought. The plot continues to thicken the whole book. I'm loving this. I think this is going to be like a really good enemies to lover trilogy, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my time. So I rated it 4.5 stars. I ate it up. It's like a wellness book. Your brain and birth control is basically just explaining like everything that happens in your body when you're on birth control and like the way it affects your brain. So the next one is Savor It, on Fisher and Sage. I don't know why I really like chef romances, but I do, because like You Again is one of my favorite books, and he's a chef. Fisher ends up moving into Sage's town. It's a small town. He ends up moving there because he has to like set up a restaurant. He messed up his reputation. He was going through a lot. Critics said something to him, right? He snapped. He got fired. Okay, but they still like love him and want him to like come back. Guardian of his niece. I think his niece is 15. Sage, the house that he's renting is right next door to Sage. So him and Sage, they meet on the first night. Moves into town. The book progresses. She basically like warms her way into their lives, and she's just like this very bubbly, loving person. Like she kind of takes in strays. So she just kind of like takes people in and takes things in and like helps them out. And with her, she also gets Fisher out of his show, and they end up fake dating. Yeah, it was good. And this is all happening during the summer. Next book is Only and Forever. Only and Forever. This is the last book in the Bourbon Brothers series. It's following Vigo and Tallulah. They went to college together for like a semester. She re-enters his life because her little sister is best friends with Vigo's little sister. Vigo is the romance lover of the whole family. Like he was the one always doing interventions when one of the former couples in the series would have a problem. He was always the one intervening and starting the conversation to like try to fix the situation. And I love his character so much. I love the whole book series. He typically reads like historical romances. He loves books with happy endings. Tallulah is a thriller writer. We enter each other's lives because her little sister is proposing to her girlfriend, and they do it at the A-frame, which is like their family home they always go up to. I just love this book series. It just does everything. Okay, it has everything that I would want in a book series. Like a secret project that none of his family knows about, and she's struggling to write her second book. They end up having like a morning coffee chat about it. She has like all her guards up at all times because of her family, and you know, he has such a loving and caring family. He doesn't really have those type of defense mechanisms. He's kind of like an open book. They end up making a pact with each other that in a year's time he's going to open up his bookstore that he's working on, and she's gonna finish her book. Later they end up re-meeting again like a year later at his like soft launch thing for his bookstore. So all his family's there. Okay, I'm like telling the whole story. Hold on. She went to therapy to become a better person so that she could be the type of person that Vigo needs in a relationship, and also for herself. And my favorite microtrends. I listened to Some Sort of Happy. This is following Sebastian and Skylar. Skylar ends up moving back home from New York. She was in a reality, I can't remember, I think she was in New York. She ends up moving back home. She was in a reality TV show where she was paid out to be the villain. Sebastian also recently just moved back home. He has OCD. Then the book really shows a light on how he lives his day-to-day life with that, and how it affects their relationship. They get off on the wrong foot, and they end up seeing each other again and again. And he also always had a crush on her in high school. Their relationship just develops like that. They become friends, and then after they become friends. So then last book, The Fiancé Dilemma. I don't want to do a full review because I know I'm definitely going to do one. TikTok rated 4 stars. I really like this one. I don't think any book will ever top the American Roommate Experiment. I don't know if it was just the state of mind I was in, but I was in love with that book. I still am. This book is following Josie and Matthew. Now if you read The Long Game, Josie is like a main character in The Long Game. She's also the town mayor. She owns a coffee shop, and she's also a serial runaway bride. Always ends up breaking off her engagements. There's no problem with not finding your right person and like leaving as soon as you figure out like that's not my person. So Matthew is also Josie's sister's best friend, right? So they all are like in a group chat together. Anyway, it's cute vibes. It's also a small town romance. And so the book starts off with Josie basically is like the center of this scandal. The world just found out that she is the daughter of like one of the most leading men in the sports world, right? Girl's in the middle of a bird game at the beginning of the book, and that's when the PR manager, Bobby Shark, just a funny name, like Bobby Shark. Okay, so she pops up. When she opens the door, she sees Matthew walking down the street. Basically, Bobby, that Matthew is her fiance. Her and Matthew enter the very dating scene. Matthew was the cutest. He's a blonde, kind of golden retriever-esque man. Wears glasses. Love that. Love to see that. Okay, so she also lives with her grandpa Mo. He's not really her grandpa, but the whole town calls him Grandpa Mo, and he's basically her grandpa. I really enjoyed this book. It has so many different factors that I liked. I love the side characters. I love small town romances when like the side characters play like a main role in the book too. Like they're always popping up. You always hear about them. It's a lot going on in this book, but Matthew is one of the sweetest characters ever. That's the end of this video. We are done. I've been talking for forever. This video is probably going to be long now that I think about it, but neither here or there. I'll see you guys next week in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.